All right, Shalom. Want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem, Rakag, Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who rule well. And also honor and salutations to those of you who are of the hopeful elect and are out there teaching the word in sincerity and truth. All right, so I was just sitting here. I just got finished putting, my kids to bed, and I was just sitting here thinking about these guys in ISUPK. I was sitting there. I was thinking about it. And I was saying, what's wrong with them dudes, man? And of course, the scripture started to come into my mind. So I wanted to share it, share what I was thinking about. You know, we are definitely in the last days, right? There's there's no doubt in my mind that what time we're in, and that you have some people who don't necessarily know how to deal with that, right? Um, when you think of the high priests and the Pharisees and Sadducees and what their role was in Israel, when you think about that, when the Lord Yahweh Shai had come, they didn't know how to handle this guy, right? You had this man who came and kind of threw a monkey wrench in the program, and they didn't know how to approach him. They wanted to. They didn't know whether to bully him. They didn't know whether to, when I say bully, I mean like strong arm him. They didn't know whether to agree with him. They didn't want to rouse the people up because the people were believing in him. And he like I said, threw a monkey wrench in the program and what they had going on. And I take what happened with ISUPK in the same way. They've been able to live um, unscathed, if you will, for many years, right? Even before our elder apostles got on YouTube, they had some type of, ISUPK still lived in some kind of bucket, or they had a school or whatnot. As a matter of fact, when I was journeying into the truth, before I knew the truth and what it was, the first video, one of the first videos I saw was of ISUPK. So they existed in some capacity, and now, due to the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai dealing with GMS, we've thrown that same monkey wrench into their program, right? Because when there's no one to challenge your position, it's easy for your position to stand, right? Just like it's just like when you boxing, right? You in there, you dodging that, they got that I don't know what the bag is called, but they have a bag where it's got an elastic on both ends of it, and you hit it, and you kind of, it simulates somebody punching at you as you punch it, right? So he's he's punching, dodging it, boom, boom, boom. When he's doing that, he feel like he the man. You know what I'm saying? You in the gym, you and you throwing your punches or whatever, and you feel like, yeah, I got this shit figured out. and and what happens is, when you get in the ring and there's somebody actually standing there in front of you, you realize, oh shit, I didn't prepare the way I supposed to prepare. Oh, there's some things I missed. Now that you're being challenged by by an opponent, right? And again, we are their opponent. They've been shadow boxing for a long time, and now they have an opponent, and now their congregation is like, oh shit, like, hey, GMS is saying this, and this that makes sense to me. I'm going through the scriptures, and I read it, and this makes sense what they're saying. You got an answer for that, and they taking it like, fuck GMS, don't you listening to them, and then they had this whole escapade in I think Pittsburgh. I want to say Pittsburgh, which those men handled themselves extremely well, man. Excuse me. They handled themselves extremely well, and through it all, through that whole escapade, I was most impressed with their demeanor. Right? They continued on. They weren't frazzled. They kept pushing the word, and we can take note from that in the coming times, because that's the type of mindset we're gonna have to have. We're gonna have to have that same mindset, uh, that tunnel vision. Matter of fact, let me go here. This is I always forget. I think it's Matthew 6, but let's do this. Yeah, this is Matthew 6 and 22. It says, "The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light." So we got to make sure that our eye is single. We got that one track mind through all the turmoil and commotion. We got to make sure that we keep our eyes on the prize, right? Stephen just came to mind, right? When you read the book of Acts, here it is. Stephen was, probably, when you think of the story, probably surrounded, right? And he was just preaching, and they got upset and they stoned him, of course. But you know, I believe that he was so deep in the spirit that whatever was happening to him, he didn't feel, he didn't see, he didn't hear, because he looked up and he saw the Lord Yahweh Shai, man, and he continued on in his path, and that same focus, that same intense focus, we're gonna have in these coming times, man. Your family, whoever may live with you or who's in close contact with you, they're gonna be looking to you for answers, and people are gonna be coming left and right, and you got to be able to navigate through all that. You got to be able to navigate through that, and through the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, we can do it, man. We will do it. But I wanted to talk about Tazaryak and not Tazaryak, but those guys over there in that escapade. I just got a couple of scriptures that I wanted to go into, and then I'll end it there. So this is I'll start here. Yeah, it's a beautiful time with him, man. So this is Acts 4 and 13. It says, "Now when they saw the boldness of Peter and John, and perceived that they were unlearned and ignorant men, they marveled, and and they took knowledge of them that they had been with Yahushai. And beholding the man which was healed standing with them, they could say nothing against it." Right? It says, "But when they had commanded them to go aside out of the council, they conferred among themselves, saying, What shall we do to these men? For that indeed a notable miracle hath been done by them is manifest to all them that dwell in Jerusalem, and we cannot deny it." Right? And likewise, now, us teaching about John the Baptist may not hold the same weight as um, healing a man that's been lame all his life. Right? It may not hold the same weight as far as shock value is concerned. Right? But in that uh, we told the truth of the scriptures, and all of Israel witnessed it. They can't deny that. So they resort to these worldly tactics, these carnal tactics, in order to, you know, I want to say save face, but that might not be the, for lack of a better term, save face for what they got going on, right? Because that, again, that monkey wrench has been thrown in the program, thrown in the system, right? So this says, it says, but that it spread no further among the people. Let us straightly threaten them that they speak henceforth to no man in this name. And wasn't that what they were doing? Weren't they? Were that was a passive aggressive threat, right? They didn't say get off this block before we do this, but it was a threat nonetheless. Though it was passive aggressive, right? As much as it seemed like it was full on aggressive, it was passive aggressive. And they were being bullies, man. In so many words, you know, and the reason why is because they can't deal in the scriptures, and they've never been able to deal in the scriptures. There's countless videos on YouTube of brothers that are a part of GMS and may not be a part of GMS that have approached them uh, with inquiring minds, and instead of dealing with them, shun them away or yelled a little bit louder or tried to embarrass them. That's just their tactic, and it's a tactic that people employ when they don't know how to deal, when they don't know how to communicate with the people that's in front of them. Me, me personally, I like the art of argument. I like it. So I want to hear other people's point of view. And if not to teach, then to at least uh, have another perspective. People say things sometimes, and I'm not right about everything. We're not right about everything. So I like to at least hear where they're coming from and see if I can take their perspective and kind of move it in the right direction for them. You know, um, so to turn somebody away or to be dismissive of a person, um, that's not as they would say, Christ-like, right? That's not Messiah-like. That's not Mashiach-like. To shun somebody because they don't do what you do, or they disagree with you, right? The Lord Yahweh Shai, when the scribes and Pharisees challenged him, he challenged them back, right? Bear with me for a second here. All right, so that's what's going on, man. They don't have the skill and the tact it takes to to deal spiritually. Matter of fact, since I said that, I think I'm spelling that right. Bear with me for a second here. Right, this is First Corinthians 2:14. It says, "But the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of the Most High, for they are foolishness unto him, neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned." Right? So these things that it takes the spiritual eye to see, they don't have that spiritual eye to see, man. So they resort to carnal things and fleshly things, right? This is my block. I'm taking over the block, which is quite ridiculous, man. What block? What block you got? What block you got, man? This is not our kingdom. It's not our street. The street ain't named after us. It's Washington Street or Martin Luther King Boulevard, or which is he's a Jake, but you get what I'm saying. This is not our kingdom. This world doesn't belong to us. So for us to be trying to take over a block or claim a block, uh, it's quite ridiculous, if you ask me. But continuing on, get my list here. Yeah. So I want to go to that next chapter in Acts 5. And I want to start at 25. It says, This is Acts 5:25. It says, then came one and told them, saying, "Oh, so um, no, this is something different. I was thinking of the next scripture I want to read. This is Acts 5:25. It says, "Then came one and told them, saying, Behold, the men whom ye put in prison are standing in the temple and teaching the people." Right? It says, then went the captain with the officers and brought them without violence, for they feared the people, um, lest they should have been stoned. Right? And when they had brought them, they set them before the council, and the high priest asked them, saying, Did not we straitly command you that ye should not teach in this name? And behold, ye have filled Jerusalem with your doctrine, and intend to bring this man's blood upon us. Right? So they was threatening them, man. You know, telling them that they shouldn't teach in his name. But as long as the Lord is willing, we are going to teach in this name, and we're going to push this name as long as the Lord will allow it, man. This is our time, and all you camp should be on the same page, man. Why wouldn't you want to usher in the kingdom of Yahushua, of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua? Why wouldn't you want to usher that in? Why would you want to hinder somebody from doing that? You know, if you consider yourself um, a man of the Lord, right? We should all be on the same page. It shouldn't be no problem. It shouldn't be no problem, right? So let me go to this last scripture, man. It's also in um, Acts 23:12. Acts 23:12. It says, "And when it was day, certain of the Jews banded together and bound themselves under a curse, saying that they would neither eat nor drink till they killed Paul. And they were more than 40 which had made this conspiracy." I was going to read this whole thing, but if you know the story, uh, there was some men who said they wasn't going to eat until they killed Paul. And I just wanted to touch on, that level of hatred that you must have for this person. If you, because you think of eating, man, everybody love to eat. It's fat people, skinny people, everybody love to eat. So if you say to yourself, "I'm not eating until this man is dead," that's a deep hatred, and they have that deep hatred for the man who we say is Paul in the reincarnation, man. You know, all these things are gonna start being manifest, man. You know, it, it's the time we're in. We've been saying these are the last days, and now the fire has been ramped up even more, right? The dial has been turned up even more, right? So we're getting closer and closer. So we're gonna start seeing, and don't be surprised if you see, because the ICPK, they like to, tote their weapons, right? Don't be surprised if you see one of them trying to, kill one of us, man. Don't be surprised. That's just how they get down. And not just them, I'm saying them because if you look at the series of events before the apostles had to deal with the powers that be, they were dealing with infighting first, right? They were dealing with the scribes and Pharisees, of course, the high priest, right? They were infighting first, and even Pilate was like, "Y'all go ahead with that shit, man. We ain't got nothing to do with that." Right? Until it blew up, until it expanded, and then the Romans had to deal with what the apostles were doing, right? So this is no different, right? We're infighting now, right? The scriptures say that we have to, start at the Lord's sanctuary first, which is our nation, right? But once this thing, catches on, the Lord is gonna put us in front of the world, man. You know, So with that, hopefully that was edifying. I want to give all praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Bashim Rachak. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who rule well. Honor and salutations to the hopeful elect. With that, I say shalom.